Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year for a fan submission today from DBD's Sulphur-Crested Cockatoo, aka LeNorm. He's up against Turth, who's playing the Warriors of Chaos, and I'll tell you what, Norm knows the way to my heart. Play the High Elves. My very first faction, still my sort of sentimental favourite, the first faction I ever played as a tabletop player many years ago. And this is a matchup I seem to have cast a lot of recently. I get a lot of fan submissions that are High Elf games, but more than happy to take them, like the High Elves as a faction. So for Turth's Chaos Marauders up the front. In behind there, some Chaos Warriors with Halberds alongside the Mirror Guard. 2 units of shielded Chosen, so a very meaty infantry force here. Quite wide, lots of shields, lots of armor. 3 Chaos Warhounds with poison behind them, and 4 units of Marauder Horsemen. So a lot of infantry, a lot of mobility. We'll see how he goes. Leading the force is Sartorial, the Everwatcher. Pretty good pick against the High Elves, I think. He's actually one of the, I'd say probably the better picks going in here. Has a lot of missile resistance. Looks like he has come in with Final Transmutation, Searing Doom, as well as the Scroll of Power, and then Arcane Conduit and Stand or Die and all of that. So he's he's a bit of a Terror Causer, good mass, tough to pin down, hard to shoot. Good selection here. For Norm's forces, 4 units of Illyrian Reaver Archers. Love them in this matchup. They outrange Marauder Horsemen quite significantly. They'll actually beat on the countercharge stuff like Hounds in combat, and have generally just very good stats for a hybrid or for a skirmish cab unit. 32-34, whilst what's it called? Martial Prowess or whatever, that terrible ability that High Elves have to pay through the nose for. 2 units of Shadow Warriors behind them. Sorry, I digress. I get a bit salty about the High Elves and their state at the moment. 3 units of Spearmen, 2 units of Swordmasters, which are a pretty good pick and definitely have some good targets in this game here. Looks like we have an Archmage of Metal with just Plague of Rust. Don't mind that, because it's definitely a good spell to use alongside Shadow Warriors and the Illyrian Reavers. And in the air, we have an Arcane Phoenix, going to be dropping some fiery vortexes on top of the Chaos, and leading the force, an Archmage of High. Archmage of High, I think, is a pretty solid Lord choice generally. I use him a fair bit on the Dragon, or her a fair bit on the Dragon here, but she's coming in with Apotheosis, Hand of Glory, which isn't a spell you see very often, and Soul Quench. Don't know if that was maybe meant to be Tempest to try and ward off, Manticores and that kind of thing. But yeah, Hand of Glory, interesting. We'll see if it gets used. So yeah, Soul Quench, good at killing Chosen with flank shots. Good at killing not Soul Cannons. What are they called? Hell Cannons. Because they can be a quite common pick here for the Chaos in this matchup. So Sartorial's getting forward. Probably trying to bait out a bit of a blob to use that Final Transmutation on in the early game. He's going to get the Arcane Phoenix landed on his head. Now, Sartorial does have some magic resistance. Likewise, good resistances on the Arcane Phoenix. So the Arcane Phoenix will probably win that overall. But yeah, some other units getting drawn into this combat now. The Mirror Guard coming forward. It looks like the Marauder Horseman trying to throw some jabs into the Arcane Phoenix, who's not all that well armored. 50 armor is not a great deal, so jabs actually do find pretty good value. But the front lines will meet, and I expect initially at least the front line to go reasonably well for the High Elves. Spearmen being dragged actually back here, and I think that's actually nice, really nice micro by Norm there. Let the Swordmasters do the charging. Swordmasters versus Mirror Guard, obviously a pretty good matchup for the Swordmasters. Likewise, Marauders will melt in the face of the Jedi, the High Elven Jedi, and it looks like the Final Trans coming down now. It's not getting a ton of value here, it must be said. Looks like that mage was trying to sort of get out of the arc, but it does get one of the units of Swordmasters of Hoth. This one is pushing through the line, getting a little bit bold here, probably needs to turn around and, well, probably doesn't actually want to expose their back. They do have obviously their shield block chance, their bronze shield from flicking arrows out of the air. That's just how how cool they are. But Halberds versus Spears, going to be a little bit of a wet noodles fight. Obviously the Halberds will win that, but it won't be in a particularly quick fight. And now, this is the prize fight right here. Chosen versus Swordmasters. And you'd think that this is a good matchup for the Swordmasters, but you'd be incorrect. 60 melee defense, it turns out, even against a unit with 48 melee attack and a bonus versus infantry. It doesn't go as well as you'd think for the Swordmasters, and Chosen have a lot of HP per model. Even with the assistance of an Apotheosis here, that trade is not going well. Obviously they've got Warhounds in their back, which is a really nice use of the Warhound here by turf. But over here we have our skirmish corps, and they've been very free to do as they please at the moment, and they're sending their arrows into the mobility of the chaos, which is definitely the right decision. The hounds will, as I said, hounds can be countercharged quite effectively by Illyrian Reavers, particularly if you've got a 2-on-1. A lot of people will run and in doing so use their ammo against Warhounds with Reaver Archers. If you've got 2 units together, just countercharge. Chaos Warhounds don't take burst damage well, they don't have good leadership, and as we mentioned before, pretty good stats in the early game, provided they haven't taken a lot of damage on the Illyrian Reavers. So the Halberds here in the thick of it, definitely making use of their anti-large bonus here against the Cav, so need to pull back here. Shadow Warriors, again, they can fight pretty well. They'll probably... Oh, I thought they were Marauders. No, they will not enjoy fighting Chosen whatsoever. But we've still got this Metal Mage, who I don't know if she's going to have time to drop a Plague of Rust anywhere before these Chaos Marauders do chase her off. It's a nice use of those Marauders. They can definitely keep up with her, and she'll probably go down in the next couple of seconds. But the Archmage and the Phoenix just sticking side by side, being a bit of a hit squad. But at this stage, the infantry fight has been won quite decisively by Turth and the Warriors of Chaos. Over here we have some Swordmasters, 26 of them coming back. Could probably actually just kill them with those Marauders on the charge. I mean, not Marauders, Chaos Warhounds. Likewise, these Spearmen here, 15, very tattered. These Swordmasters, we may not see them again. Looks like their leadership is just stabilised, so they will come back. But very little that they can do now. And with a reasonably good dodge here by the Warriors of Chaos player on the Arcane Phoenix's Vortex, there's going to have to be some very good use of ammo. And it's a shame that Metal Mage has in fact died, because Metal Mage, Plague of Rust in Chosen, even just the Halberds could be. And we've got a full unit of Halberds here as well. Could be very good at allowing the arrows to really find some value. So Skirmish Cav is going to pull back behind the infantry line for Turth, and I think that's a good idea. Everything here is shielded and or armoured, and I think they can soak up the ammunition reasonably well. Obviously, a couple of these units are pretty tattered. Leadership's holding relatively well, but the mobility is where these arrows probably want to be used, because otherwise, the potential for cycle charging, once the ammo does run out and Norm is forced to engage, can actually be pretty big. So yeah, I think this is the right call by the Warriors of Chaos player at the moment. Absorb as much of the ammo here as you can. I mean, Sartorial is a good candidate. It's getting a little bit low, so needs to be careful, but 50% missile resistance on him. Definitely able to soak up a lot of these arrows. And we do see some wavering here, but again, just Marauders. We've still got, what have we got here? 42 Chosen here, a couple of Mirror Guard, full health unit of Chaos Warrior Halberds, which is going to be really nasty if the Arcane Phoenix and Archmage and even just the Cavalry wants to get involved. And then back here, we've got another 45 Chosen. So yeah, there's plenty of teeth still in this Warriors of Chaos infantry line. Shadow Warriors are running pretty low on ammunition. Shadow Warriors do have nice stats, 39, 35. Looks like Martial Prowess is still active here for both of them because they are quite healthy. They'll beat Marauders, might struggle elsewhere, as we see now some arrows finding a home and actually getting pretty low here on the Marauder Horse Cavalry. And this is definitely a way for Norm to get back in the game. I think he's probably... Balance Power says it's relatively even, but I think it's probably slightly in the Chaos's favour at the moment. Sartorial probably doesn't want to get too isolated, because the Arcane Phoenix and the Archmage could come over here and probably double team him reasonably effectively. But yeah, some Javelins getting thrown in now. Oh, nice. Okay, this is a nice, very nice use of the Shadow Warriors, just to bunch up the infantry, getting whatever damage they can, and that is still a very healthy unit of Halberd. So chipping away damage there, however they can, is going to be very important. Landing now onto the Chosen, as we see an Apotheosis coming down on the Arcane Phoenix. Obviously, it does have a rebirth ability, but this is going to be a nice. Oh, that was going to be a final transmutation that could have potentially been fairly nice on Sartorial, but it looks like he has popped Stand or Die, which has unfortunately cancelled the final trans, but it's going to go down once again. Good, I don't know whether it's just a lucky, by chance there, but the Archmage and the Arcane Phoenix both managed to pull out of it, but it is hitting both these units of Shadow Warriors. Doesn't look like it was an overcast version, and it does rout the Illyrian Reavers. So Marauder Horsemen pretty safe now, just to sit back and throw their jabs in. I might put it on a little bit of a fast play just to see what's happening here. The Arcane Phoenix is very much surrounded. don't know if it's going to get its... rebirth anytime soon. Looks like it is going to be able to extricate itself. Over here, the Illyrian Reavers. This is good use of the Reavers. Good map awareness by LeNorm here. Picking up just a free unit of Chaos Warhounds. The poison there could definitely have been somewhat beneficial for the Warriors of Chaos in the late game. And a nice Soul Quench going down. Soul Quench is actually quite good at killing armored infantry, particularly when you can get flank shots. It does pierce models quite well. It's like a souped up fireball. Over here, again, just picking up scraps where he can. So LeNorm's scrapping away here. As you take a look at the overarching look at the battlefield, it is looking pretty bleak. You know, these units of Shadow Warriors and Illyrian Reavers are very close to the white line, in close proximity to Warriors of Chaos units. Don't think we're going to see either of them again, or they are taking a very strange route towards the white line there, and it looks like they have indeed making a fool of me. Both of them are rallying within spitting distance of the white line. Full health unit of Illyrian Reavers now is going to get charged by some Hounds and Mortar Horsemen, but the Arcane Phoenix is going to jump down from the sky, and this is still absolutely anyone's game as we see a nice Soul Quench coming in. I think it did kill a number of those Chaos Marauders. I think it might have taken some halberds as well with them. Arcane Phoenix now, I'm not sure, did it just get a rebirth? I feel like it's more healthy now, so I might have missed that. So, you know, terror outs or potentially Lord Loss penalty now for the Warriors of Chaos, as we do actually have 25 Swordmasters over here in the distance, and some, oh my gosh, okay, the High Elves coming back into the fight with a vengeance here, and a nice use of, oh, look at this, oh, not like this. I mean, they might be, you know, rabid Chaos followers, but I assume they had families at some point. And yeah, now with Sartorial on his last legs, 500 HP here as opposed to over 2,000 now, getting an apotheosis from the High Mage. A mass break and army losses. I feel like the Warriors of Chaos player here has absolutely snatched, you know, with all due respect, has snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. That was an unbelievable end to that game. Really well played game. Sartorial just getting a little bit beaten up, and then the terror, I think, from the Big Bird has just caused some chain routing amongst the remainder of the infantry. I actually thought as we got towards the sort of the end game there, I actually thought the mobility for the Chaos was in a little bit better shape than that. So surprised at how damaged they were. I think we may have missed a few volleys, and yeah, I mean, all those Reavers pretty much used all their ammo. They've basically, between the four of them, well and truly made all their costs back. Arcane Phoenix has been pretty healthy, and I would say nearly carried that game. Even the Shadow Warriors here, a lot of, like I said, a lot of shields and on the cheap infantry, and a lot of armor on the other one. I think overall the Warriors of Chaos player here, Turth's done well to not overcommit his horsemen and hounds before he had to. Maybe they could have lapped around and got a bit more of a flanking opportunity, but yeah, I feel like a lot of the ammo here was used on, I mean, stuff that you'd probably be happy as the Chaos player that High Elves shooting. So yeah, really, really back and forth game. I mean, the Spearmen, they've copped it. Spearmen struggle in this matchup. I think Rangers are better for just cutting through chaff, and even with the Metal Mage with Plague of Rust. Rangers can put a reasonable dent into, you know, stuff like Chaos Warriors as well. Got to be a little bit careful. You definitely don't want them fighting Chosen. Obviously, they just don't have the stats to get through. But yeah, decent value on both the Swordmasters. I think it's one matchup where you can actually make a case for Swordmasters, even though elite infantry in general for the High Elves is like, it's quite hard to use. You know, Dwarves and Chaos probably the two best candidates for them as matchups, but yeah, I'm not sure if we even actually saw a Plague of Rust. Not sure if one was cast. We saw those Marauders chasing her off, but yeah, the Archmage is... I'm a big fan of High Magic in general. I think it's a great lore to use when you can take a monstrous mount, because obviously Apotheosis means you can put some healing into yourself. On all the fly-in monsters on the High Elves, you can really win the air game because Tempest is a great spell. Soul Quench is a great spell against Warriors of Chaos because it's a Hell Cannon sniping tool, and also a way, you know, even Chosen, even something with like as good armor and HP as Chosen don't like being Soul Quench. If you get a good Soul Quench down their flanks, you can actually kill models really efficiently. But yeah, really well played game. Really well played game. Probably got a little bit lucky with a couple of those rallies right on the white line. So whether or not that changed the outcome, I'm not sure. But yeah, well played to both players. That was a really fun game to cast. Thank you to LeNorm for sending them in. And yeah, some more High Elves on the channel. We love the High Elves at its current year. So thanks everyone for checking it out. And we'll be back with more soon. Till then, take care.